discussion, mostly with states and other state leader, they can never have a common sense of what is peace. Okay, so in international relation, peace is hard to achieve because we don't have the common sense of what is peace. You and I, as an individual, also have different kind of approachment to peace. And of course, state and international relations have a different kind of perspective on peace. So peace is very difficult to achieve. You maybe understand that international relations itself is trying to maintain peace by taking a side of a war and maybe mediate and negotiate all kind of war to the conflict resolution. So that is the most difficult part of peace. First is that peace is very subjective. All individuals and all states have different kinds. All countries have different kind of perspective of what is peace. Okay, but there is one international organization that has a great contribution to international peace, which is in United Nations. So we may understand what is peace in international relation by understanding the United Nations perspective on peace. So what is the perspective on peace, which is brought by the United Nations? In 1999, Ban Ki-moon, the latest, said that peace access to education, health, and essential services, especially for girls and women and men, the chance to live, choose, and developing sustainably and protecting the planet's biodiversity. So look at this. Look at the definition of peace from Mr. Ban Ki-moon perspective. He said that peace means education, health, gender equality, the chance to live, the developing sustainability, and protecting the planet. Wow, peace is very broad definition. So in United Nations itself, there's a different kind of perspective from UNIFEM, from WHO, from UNESCO. They have different perspective of what is peace. United Nations itself is part of the bigger organization. However, all the smaller part of United Nations, different kind of peace, different kind of perspective on peace. So regarding the UNIFEM, peace endures when women can participate meaningfully in peace talks. And peace means not just ending conflict, but building inclusive societies that are able to develop and thrive in the absence of discrimination. United Nations also think that peace is mainly a broad and a broader, the more broader situation perspective on peace. That is the most difficult part United Nations to achieve, right? So what is peace in theory? Like, we are trying to understand peace by self and United Nations. And then we are trying to understand what is peace from the theory of international relations. Today, I will try to give you a perspective of peace from the Galtung perspective. Like many of my colleagues, especially Pak Tri is the senior of international relations. He thinks that I have my adorable, like Johan Galtung is I really adore Johan Galtung and like that. And also Mr. Satwik also know who is Johan Galtung. And in Johan Galtung perspective of peace, we understand that peace is also broad, but peace is also not that broad actually, because he trying to divide peace into two categories. First is negative peace, and the second is positive peace. So, what is negative peace? Negative peace is known as the absence of violence and the absence of the fear of violence. So, when the international relation, when the states stop going to war, when there's no interstate conflict, when there's no intrastate conflict, it means that the negative peace also is already achieved. And then the second one is positive peace. Positive peace is broader than negative peace because it is beyond measuring levels of actual peace. How can we understand what is needed to attain peaceful societies? So the difference is when negative peace is only temporary, the positive peace is on long-term goals. Like maybe negative peace, we can achieve negative peace by maybe for 1 to a year, and then the positive peace takes longer than that, maybe 2 years, maybe 50 years, maybe 100 years, maybe a lifetime. So positive peace actually beyond measuring levels of actual peace. Okay, but it doesn't tell us should be investing into strengthen or maintain levels of peace. So basically, there's negative peace, the absence of war, and the positive peace, there's trying to guide human being to have a long-term kind of peace. The temporary peace, there is negative peace, and the long-term peace of positive peace. Okay, so this is the theory. Okay, this is the theory. Everybody knows about this. Everybody knows that we all want peace. We are part of the problem and also the solution to bring peace in the whole wild world, right? So it is peace in theory. What about in practice? Okay, here on your screen, you can see that in there is global peace index. There are some international organization who is trying to understand the indicators and the level of peace from each country. And in 2021, we have the Global Peace Index. If you just Google it, the Global Peace Index, they have the like 14 or 15 indicators regarding this. Mostly they are trying to understand the indicators for negative peace because the absence of war. The Global Peace Index, there are 14 indicators, 14 or 15 indicators, mostly like negative peace, like I already said. Like first, how many wars in that country, how long the war take, and what is the conflict resolution? Is there any conflict resolution? If there's no conflict resolution, they will be in the red zone. Like you can see, they divide it into different kind of color. Red, green, yellow, and orange is where red is when you have a very low peace, while green, the greener country, the highest level of peace, the highest state of peace. And they are using this as by using the 14 indicators like that, like the negative peace mostly. Global Peace Index never trying to understand the positive peace, like how many women and men have a peace in mind, have access to education or access to food, access to water. They never talk about it. Global Peace Index mostly think about the negative peace in all the countries. You can see in the map, on the map, that mostly Africa, the continent of Africa here, and we can see that most of Africans have a very low to low level state of peace, while mainly very high state of peace is on Europe and North America. And also Indonesia. Look at this, Indonesia. With Indonesia, we have green. We have our state of peace is green. That's right. That's good, right? That is good, because maybe in 2001 to 2010, Indonesia is part of the orange color because we have a medium, low to almost high uh, state of war like that. Okay, so this is the practice. This is the reality in international relation. How uh, many countries is on medium, low to very low uh, state of peace. Many countries, while there's only little countries with a very high to high state of peace. So which one is the highest level of peace and which one is the lowest level of peace? Okay, the most peaceful countries in the world regarding the Global Peace Index is first Iceland, the second is New Zealand, the third is Denmark, the fourth is Portugal, and the fifth is Slovenia. Okay, and we understand that Iceland, of course, remains the most peaceful country in the world, a position that is held by Iceland since 2008. So the Global Peace Index think that Iceland is the most peaceful country from the 2008 until 2021. I'm trying to imagine that Indonesia is Iceland, but maybe just my imagination. Okay, so Iceland remains the most peaceful country in 2008 to 2021. And it is joined at the top, the index by New Zealand, Denmark, Portugal, and Slovenia. And that are the most peaceful countries in the world. Okay, so what is the least peaceful countries? We have the least peaceful countries. We have Afghanistan, we have Yemen, Syria, South Sudan, and Iraq. Now this is all of it is mostly in Middle East. Okay, Middle East is high with oil, in highly with all the natural resources, and also they have abundance of many natural resources. However, the kind of conflict also happens in the Middle East, like Afghanistan, Yemen, Syria. This is from 2011 when the Arab Spring occurs in Middle East until right now. The Yemen, Syria is part of the effect of Arab Spring, and South Sudan is a long kind of conflict from maybe, if I'm not mistaken, maybe from 1990s to now. First is Sudan, and then they separate, and then the conflict is in the South Sudan. Okay, that is the least peaceful countries. So if you see this, if you are saying this, peace is almost a hard work to the international relations, especially many countries in the world. Peace is a very hard work, like this. And it is only from negative kind of agenda. Several times I have this reminder that my internet connection is unstable. I am very sorry if maybe I talk like a robot, or if I'm not clear, maybe the moderator can say it to me that it's not clear for the audience. Okay. Now, and then we have the Uppsala Conflict Data Program. They trying to elaborate the graph of armed conflict by region, and we can see that from 1946 to 2020, we also that the Africa is the biggest. The biggest arms conflict level in the world, and then followed by the Asia, and then Middle East, okay, Middle East, Europe, and Americas. Okay, this is proof that in international relation, negative peace itself is difficult to achieve. From 1946 to now to 2020, there is no sign of declining. There's no sign of declining number of armed conflict in the world. It is very difficult. And then we also understand that from the Uppsala Conflict Data Program, we see that mostly the conflict, the war and conflict that happens in 1946 to 2020 is the intrastate conflict. People always think that war is between countries. However, we forget that the most bloody, the most difficult and the most in the world is the intrastate conflict. You may see that it's getting higher, not lower, but getting higher. And then the internationalized intrastate conflict, like for example, the Afghanistan mostly is nowadays is intrastate conflict, right? And Syria also the intrastate conflict. However, many international actors contribute both in the conflict, as the actor of conflict or the actor of conflict resolution. It means that the intrastate conflict, like Syria, is already internationalized. Okay. Then this is the peace in practice, the negative peace. And then what about peace in practice of positive peace? What is the practice of positive peace? Do we really trying to achieve the positive peace? In 2000 and in year 2000 to 2015, there's Millennium Development Goals. Millennium Development Goals is also part to achieve peace, because as I already mentioned before, that according to United Nations, peace is not only the absence of war, but peace also giving the gender equality, the access for food and drink and education and etc. So from 2000 to 2015, we have Millennium Development Goals. And after 2015, we have the Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah. So what is the Sustainable Development Goals? Sustainable Development Goals mainly are trying to achieve peace by, like the 16 goals is peace, justice, and strong institution. It is not only for the 16 goals. Yeah, it is the peace. For positive peace, it means that we have to achieve all 17 goals to achieve the positive peace in the country. For example, to make positive peace, we need a zero poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, decent work and economic growth, and etc. Of course, and the life of land. This is mainly the indicators to achieve positive peace in the world. Okay, so I already said before that peace is also hard to achieve. Not only negative peace. Negative peace is already hard to achieve, right? But we are trying. We cannot just say it is hard to achieve. We can do that, blah blah blah, and then we are doing nothing. However, no matter how hard it is, peace is essential for our daily life. We can do this kind of Zoom interaction if there is no peace in Indonesia. Okay, we can have an access to water, have an access to food and education, and also health if we are in the middle of the war. So peace is the essential or the foundation of human being to live as a human being. If you get what I mean, peace is the foundation for human to live as a human being. So to live as a human being, peace is needed by achieving all the 16, all the 17 indicators for sustainable development goals. The sustainable development goals is trying not only to make least the least developed countries to more developed countries. Is not only about that, but also it's also about achieving positive peace in the world. So this is the practice of United Nations to achieve the positive peace. So what is exactly peace in international relation? How we understand peace in international relation? First, if you understand the theory of international relations and also the practice of international relations, we understand that mostly peace is always aspired to and provides an optimum through idealistic point of reference. It means that peace is never be achieved in international relation. We all talk about interest. We all talk about war. We all talk about national interest, and maybe you understand that some of international international thinker thinks that we only achieve peace by trying to face the war. Okay, so peace is only inspired as idealistic. Peace never be achieved in international relation because international relations mostly influenced by the realism. And the second, it is viewed as an achievable global objective based on universal norm. So this is, of course, the global objective, but mainly as idealistic. So we are trying to achieve the global objective. Every countries want to achieve peace. It is part of their objective. Peace is a part of their objective, but again, it is idealistic. And the third, it is viewed as a geographically bounded framework defined by territory, culture, identity, and national interest. Yeah. For example, European Union also only think about peace in their continent, in their European Union, geographically bounded. And also ASEAN, Southeast Asia, viewed peace with geographically bounded framework inside the ASEAN. And four, it is presented as an objective truth associated with complete legitimacy. Five, it is related to a certain ideology or political or economic framework. For example, peace can only be achieved by liberalism, by democracy, and peace never be achieved by communism, by socialism. That is the part of international perspective on peace. And it is viewed as a temporal phase. Yeah. Yes, many countries and also international organizations think that peace is temporary. If you want peace, prepare for war. So peace is mostly a temporary phase. So they are just trying to make a longer peaceful situation by introducing new kind of frameworks such as Millennium Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals. It's only happening maybe 20 to 21 years ago. So basically, international relations think that peace is a temporal phase. Okay, and it is based upon state or collective security. Again, international relations is influenced by realism. So peace is mainly the matter of state. It's a matter of state, not the matter of nation, not the matter of people, but it's a matter of state. And to achieve peace, the state should be part of collective security. They have to take care of each other and protecting each other by collective security. And 8, it is based upon local, regional, or global forms of governance, perhaps defined by a hegemonic actor or a specific multilateral institution. Okay, this is the part of the idea of supranationalism, when because countries or states always fights against another state. So why don't we build a super nationalism, supranationalism, to maintain the condition between states so they can stop going to war like that. So this is exactly the main idea of European Union and the main idea to build United Nations. And 9, it is viewed as a top-down institutional framework or bottom-up civil society-oriented framework. Okay, peace in international relation is only about how the government achieve, and then they make us as a citizen to abide the law to maintain peace. Or peace is mostly like our movement as a citizen to make the government acknowledge or realize that we need peace. So mostly it's not the top-down and the bottom-up framework, but peace in international relation is mostly viewed as a top-down or bottom-up, not both. Okay, so sometimes from the top-down institutional framework and the bottom-up civil society framework, they have different kind of objective of peace. For example, mainly the state and countries wants peace. The government wants peace. The definition of peace from the government is the negative peace, while the bottom-up civil society-oriented framework of peace is the positive peace. So they have this class of interest and class of perspective on peace. And the 10, there needs to be little discussion of the conceptual underpinnings of peace because it is one ideal liberal form. Okay. Like I already mentioned before that mainly international relation is under the influence of realism. So the discussion of peace, even in liberalism and idealism itself, the discussion of peace is very little. Peace is sometimes associated with the absence of war. Peace is associated with the condition that is only in idealistic view, in your imagination, like that. For example, we understand that from Perpetual Peace, Immanuel Kant, Perpetual Peace. Many people doesn't agree. Many people don't agree with Immanuel Kant, right? They think that Immanuel Kant only trying to make an imagination of peace, the long-lasting peace in the world, like that. Because in international relation, peace is only temporary, and that is the main influence from the realism. So what should we do to maintain peace both in practice and both in practice and theory? In theory, we have to build a stronger definition and a stronger discussion of what is peace according to international relations, because even in idealism there is no exact way of how we can achieve peace. Idealism they want peace, we want peace, but they don't understand how to achieve peace. And in realism they don't they understand peace as the absence of war. They understand peace as an imagination, temporary phase, and they don't never admit that peace is the part of international relations. And constructivism and also the critical theory and postmodernism, they also never talk directly of what is peace, what they mean as peace, and how can we achieve peace in international relations. Okay, in theory. And in practice, maybe in my opinion, in practice, to achieve the negative peace, also we already have the mechanism from the United Nations, the peace conflict, peacekeeping, peace building, peacemaking, and conflict prevention. And that is how we can achieve peace, achieve the negative peace. And how we can achieve the positive peace? We can achieve the positive peace in practice by maintaining or maybe trying to trying to complete all the goals, all the sustainable development goals, the 66, 17 sustainable development goals, when we can achieve all of them, I agree that the positive peace in the world can be achieved. Okay, that's all my explanation of what is peace in theory and practice of international relations. If you have any questions, okay, moderator, Jessica, we go to the question and answer session, right?
Yes, Ms. Shary, first of all, thank
Okay.
you for your
Okay.
interesting presentation. Yeah. I definitely learned a lot from your sessions, such as the negative piece and positive piece, which I've never heard before. So yeah, maybe now we can move on to the Q&A session. For those of you who are still curious to ask to Ms. Shary, you may raise your hand or drop your question in the chat box, and I will deliver it right away to Ms. Shary. Okay, for the first question is probably from Miss Anissa. You may open your microphone.
Hello, Ms. Shary. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's nice to see you again. I'm Anissa. So, actually, I have a question that is still, I still need to think about it many times, and it really breaks my heart. Actually, 2 days ago, I got a news that a friend of mine has passed away, but not in a very unusual circumstances. So he eventually died in a Syrian conflict in 2016. He just went to Turkey from Indonesia and then crossed the border from Turkey and Syria and went to the war. And it gets me thinking from the day I got the news 2 days ago during summer course until today that the peace is totally a very, very subjective topic. From me, myself who live in Indonesia, we live in peace. We are now free from negative peace, but from my friend who died there, maybe he didn't think the same as me. He might think that he didn't live in peace as long as his brother and sister didn't live in free from the oppression. So, as an international scholars, I wonder how can we bridge this different value, because I guess I'm thinking about the ISIS returnees issues from Indonesia that tried to return here, but our government rejected them. And I wonder if we can have a real solution to this issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anissa. What a great questions. Miss Moderator, is there any other question or should I answer one by one?
I think you can answer by one.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Nisa, may I call you Nisa? Anissa, okay. Nisa is one of my brightest students, and she, of course, yeah. Like I already said before, we have peace itself is very subjective. What I think as peace and what you think as peace is kind of different. And we are just two individuals. How about we talk about the 2 billion or 5 billion people in the world? It is very difficult to think about peace, like because peace is part of concept from social concept, and the problem of social concept is that it's very subjective. Each individuals have different kind of perspective on the concept. For example, love, care, and peace, and security, and secure. In my opinion, what is security and what is security according to other people also different. So how can we bridge this kind of difference? Actually, Johan Galtung is trying to bridge this kind of difference. So 5 billion people in the world have different kind of perspective of peace. However, he is bridging it by making it two different kind of peace, negative peace and positive peace. So what is the country need? Are they need the negative peace first or the positive peace first? Because positive peace is never be achieved if there is no negative peace. So I'm very sorry for your friend, but in example in Syria, and Yemen and Iraq and Afghanistan, the most important thing to achieve peace, long-term peace in that country, is to make the conflict resolution mechanism available and accessible and approvable by both countries. So negative peace first, and then we can talk about their access to education, their access to health, and etc. So I think what we needed most in that country, in the conflicting country, is to achieve the negative peace, and then after that we can talk about the positive peace. I think so. Am I answering your question? Oh, because my internet connection is unstable, so part of your question I can really hear part of your question. Am I answering your question, Lisa?
Well, I think that there is the part that maybe hasn't been answered yet. It is about the challenge as IR scholars to to preach the peace between all the people. The challenge that we should maybe the real solution in government, I guess.
Okay, the real solution. Actually, the international relation already trying, because there is no right now there's no such thing as real solution, because every problem has different kind of solution, and even in one person, there's so many problems, right? So real solution for international peace is nowadays is difficult. However, in my opinion, to bridging the peace perspective itself, we should make a broader understanding between international relations theory. Like, all of us understand that international relation is influenced by the realism, and we want to think beyond realism. We want to make a greater foundation about what is peace, according to, for example, constructivism, liberalism, idealism. And we are, as the scholars, first we need to understand the theory first, right? So at first, in theory, we have to mainly discuss about how liberalism understand peace and how constructivism understand peace. Because right now, they only talk about war. They only talk about that. For example, liberalism think that to stop war, we need to cooperate from each other. We need to maintain the democracy and etc. But they never understand how to achieve peace by maybe by making all the people have the access to food and water. So regarding the questions, how can we have the real solution about this? Maybe first, in theory, we have to make a broader understanding of what is peace in theory in international relations. And then the second, from practice, we need to have a both top-up and also bottom-up solution. So we get in the middle. We get in the middle what the government wants and what we want as a human being, as a citizen, what we really want from this perspective of peace. What is our perspective of peace? So and the practice, actually we need a discussion and also cooperation between the government and also the community organization, community framework, to understand what is peace and what we need from what we really need from peace, because actually different kind of countries needs different kind of peace. Like in Indonesia, economy is the main important thing to achieve peace, and in Syria maybe it's not about economic, it's about conflict resolution mechanism, it's about peacemaking first. And in Malaysia it's different, in Somalia it's different. So yeah, inside the country we need to make a better understanding from the government perspective of peace and the citizens perspective of peace. Okay, but the real solution, yeah, if I have the real solution, Isa, I will get a Nobel Prize. However, I cannot answer that, because peace is very difficult to achieve, because to make war is very simple, but to make peace, especially the longer peace, not everyone can do that. Not every person can do that. Ivan, are you satisfied with the question? Are you satisfied with the answer?
Yes, I guess. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anissa. See you next time. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Shary, for answering Anissa's question. Maybe we can move on to the next question by Ms. Sandra. You may open your microphone.
Oh yeah. Hi, Miss Shary. I'm sorry I could not turn on my camera because
no problem.
My network's bad. Yeah. So I have always been interested in peace and conflict topics, right? And today, if I'm not mistaken, you said that peace was never and would never be achieved. But yes, the positive could be achieved if all SDG were completed. And the second one is that, what do you think about the Afghanistan's condition now? Do the people, not just the Muslim there, but all Afghan, regardless genders and stuff, is peaceful under the Taliban's control? Because I do have a friend from Afghanistan, and she said that please help because they're terrorists, and she's the Muslim majority. And yeah, what do you think about that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. For the questions, interesting question. What about Afghanistan? How we make peace in Afghanistan? First, like I already said before, in the conflicting areas, the one thing we should do is to make the conflict resolution mechanism works. For example, they have to mediate whether Taliban will be the one who lead the country, or the other party, or etc., or any other party. But actually, we have to make sure that Taliban is trying to provide the best for its citizens, the best for its country. They want to make not Taliban great again, yeah, but want to make Afghanistan peaceful enough for the citizens, because Afghanistan from 2001 until now, they have never really in the peaceful state of mind and condition, right, from the invasion of the United States to Afghanistan, or the intervention of the United States to Afghanistan. So what Afghanistan really need right now is their acknowledge from Taliban that their purpose is peace for the citizens. Citizen. I'm not trying to people are pessimists about if Taliban really Afghanistan, so why not, in my opinion. So happen in Taliban right here, right now, is they have to make sure that Taliban, who is already a leader of Afghanistan right now, they want to make peace in that country. I think so. If I'm answering your question, Sandra?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. Maybe one more questions, Jessica, because in 12:15 I have another course from my university, so it is very hard to yeah. Okay, one more questions.
Okay, maybe the last one is from Miss Yuta. You may
Okay.
open your microphone.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it's Mr., not Miss.
Oh, okay,
sorry.
Mr. Yuta. We're sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry.
Thank you so much, and I'd like to apologize because I can't turn my camera in due to the reason of my heavy rain here.
No problem.
Okay. I'd like to ask you, Miss Shary, are you well aware with the treaty between US, UK, and Australia about the nuclear submarine? It's kind of remind me with ABDACOM. You will with ABDACOM, that American British Dutch commando in, I think, in Second World War. Yeah. Is it going to affect the peace in Pacific region? That treaty, I mean the submarine treaty, is it going to affect the peace that we already have in Pacific region? Because as long as I know, the French has already withdrawn their ambassador from Australia. Thank you.
Okay. I forgot to remind you that there are two different perspectives on peace, not negative and positive peace, but how the security studies saw peace and how the peace studies saw peace. So in security studies, what the Australia do here is part of their effort to make peace. However, according to peace studies, like me, myself, and Mr. Satwika, that kind of security, that kind of force, actually, they are using the military intervention. Maybe there's no war, but military intervention in that point of view. In our perspective, it is not to achieve peace. It will only bring another conflict in that situation, in that areas, because to achieve peace, in our opinion, as a peace study, in order to achieve peace, we need a peaceful mechanism. So I said like peacemaking, peacekeeping, peace building. I never talk about the military intervention. I never talk about the submarine cooperation or collective security. In peace studies opinion, it will only bring more problems than to achieve peace itself. So in my opinion, as a peace study, peace thinkers, that is not the purpose of peace in that case. If am I answering your question, Mr. Yuta?
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for the wonderful
thank
answer.
you. Yeah, thank you. Maybe one more questions, Jessica. We have 3 minutes.
Okay, it is from the chat box. I'm going to read it for you. It is from Miss Shamira. She's asking, what do you think about R2P in peace empowerment? And also, what do you think will be the best mechanism in building peace in conflict caused by the failure of its government? Thank you.
Oh, today all of you, Anissa, Sandra, Yuta, and Shamira, have a very deep and great questions regarding peace. So I'm trying to answer this. What I think about responsibility to protect, R2P is responsibility to protect. In my opinion, as a peace thinker, and also my concentration as a peace studies, responsibility to protect is highly important. All the countries, all the states and government should really think about to protect their own citizens, because we pay taxes to them. We pay taxes to government. We want government to take care of us, right? So the responsibility to protect is highly needed from the government. And if the government cannot provide the responsibility to protect, then other governments in the whole in the areas, or maybe in the part of United Nations, should make sure that the human rights and citizens and also the citizens in that country is protected, because the responsibility to protect is highly important to achieve peace. Okay, also, what do you think will be the best mechanism in building peace in conflict caused by the failure of its government? Okay, the mechanism to build peace in conflict caused by the failure of its government. First, because we can't make peace without someone who is who will be the leader, and also the person who is responsible to maintain peace in that area. So when the government fail, we have to make sure that there is another government who will be willing to provide peace to its citizens. So, for example, when the Afghanistan has no government, then we have to choose one person or one group to be part of the government and to make sure that they are responsible to make peace in the country, and to make sure they are responsible that they protect the government, the citizens. So the first step to build peace in conflict caused by the failure of its government is to re-elect another government who is responsible to maintain peace in the country. And the next step is to make sure that the government responsible really have a good intention to conflict resolution mechanism. For example, they are willing to supervise, or maybe they are willing to have another help from another country to support to build health institution, to help to education institution, and they are open to another country's help, because it is part of their responsibility. If they can do that, if they can't build their own security, they can't build their own health and education institution, they need to be open from other countries to help them. Okay, so the first is to re-elect the person who is responsible to make peace in that countries, and then the second, to build peace, if they are not able to build their own peace, they have to open to another help from other countries, and then they have to supervise the peace. I mean, peace is not like, okay, I maintain peace today, but I will not supervise tomorrow. You can do that. Peace is a long-term mechanism. It means that from right here, right now, until the day after tomorrow, until the another 50 years, 60 years, you are really need to supervise the peace. Okay, so the person who is responsible, the government who is responsible, should understand that it is first, it's their responsible, so it's their responsibility, and the second, they are willing to supervise the peace for a long time. Maybe I'm answering your question, Shamira. So the best mechanism is first to like any kind of countries, any kind of conflict actually. First is we have to build the negative peace, and then we can talk about the positive peace. If there is no negative peace in that country, almost difficult to think or maybe to only mention the positive peace. So yeah, in the case of the failure of its government, such as Yemen, Somalia in 1991, and then maybe Syria, and then Afghanistan, the best thing happened to that country is at first to maintain the negative peace by electing the government who is responsible for a peaceful mechanism inside the country. Okay, I hope that is I'm very sorry. Actually, I'm not really good in English, so and I'm still learning in Romania. So when you say when you say something and I say nicio problema, because in Romania no problem is nicio problema, and I've in my brain it's always mixing between three languages: Indonesia, English, and Romania. So it's very difficult for me to, because I'm still adapting to the Romanian like that. Okay, maybe that's all from me. I give the time and screen back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Shary, for answering all the questions. Well, I actually have a question myself to you as well, but I think we don't have enough time. Is it okay, Miss? Or
oh, okay. You may ask me any questions, Jessica. Yeah. It's only for you.
Thank you, Miss. So I want to ask, like from your session before, I understood that the peacemaking effort that we are currently doing are aiming to reach the negative peace, while on the other side, we currently have the SDG, which is the positive peace that is trying to be achieved in 2030, right? And from your response to Anisa's question in the first place, in order to achieve positive peace, we also need to achieve negative peace first. Not to mention that we are currently living in a destructive era right now. So my question is, from the circumstances, is SDGs considered to be too idealistic or even utopian to be reached in 2030? Thank you, Ms.
Okay. Is it idealistic? Peace itself, in international relations, most international relations perspective, peace itself is idealistic. So why not? We are using the more idealistic. At least we are trying. Just because peace is difficult to achieve doesn't mean that we can't do anything. So I think Millennium Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals maybe not perfect, maybe too highly demanding, but actually it is also the part of our responsibility as a human being to maintain peace. Like I already said before, that peace actually is the foundation of the human being. We can live as a good human being without peace itself. So sustainable development goals, it is hard, yes. It is the broader definition and the most difficult definition of peace, yes. Are we going to achieve the all 17 goals of sustainable development in 2030? Maybe yes, maybe no. Are we going to achieve positive peace after all the sustainable development goals is completed? Maybe yes, maybe no. So actually, at least United Nations and all the countries is trying to achieve positive peace by using the kind of mechanism that can be implemented in their countries. Okay, so the sustainable development goals, it is hard, it is broad, but actually, if you understand the sustainable development goals, it has a good purpose for the country first, and then the second, sustainable development goals is actually, if the countries want and the countries willing, or the countries trying to cooperate one to another, they cooperate, then I think it is mostly it can be achieved. Okay, so regarding your questions, yeah, it is idealistic. We have to have idealism, right? We can't just see, oh, the world is like this, the world is full of war, full of misery, and we are not trying to have the imagination of what is good for our life, right? So I think sustainable development goals, it is ideal but also necessary for to maintain or trying to achieve the positive peace, because actually, like this, positive peace is the goal, and sustainable development goals is the instrument. So, yeah, we can achieve the positive peace by sustainable development goals. At least 90% of positive peace will be achieved by sustainable development goals when we willing to achieve the sustainable development goals. So yeah, idealistic but necessary, I think. Am I answering your question?
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Shary.
Okay,
So I think
thank you.
that wraps up the Q&A session. And maybe before we end this session, I think we should take a picture first. For the operator, you may start taking some pictures. And for all the participants, please turn on your camera for this photo session.
Okay, I'm going to take the lead for photo sessions. This is for the first layer. 1, 2, 3. For the second layer. 1, 2, 3. For the third layer. 1, 2, 3. And for the fourth layer. 1, 2, 3. And this is the last layer. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you so much, Jessie.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Shary, for your presentation and also your time in the session. And maybe this is the end of our session this time. And don't forget, for all participants, we still have the second session at 3 p.m. And don't forget to rejoin this meeting at 2:45. Thank you and have a nice day, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Shary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shary.
Everyone. Thank you, Mr. Satwika. You're welcome. Goodbye, everyone.
Recording stopped.
We go.